Hello, everyone. This is your friendly neighborhood illegal alien. Um, I was listening the other night to Captain Frugal and Underground. They were having a discussion on comics. I think it was basically started out as what Spider-Mans do you like? Do you like the current ones? And it was just an overall conversation about which Spider-Mans they felt were better, which ones they didn't think were good, and they started rating them and all that. I mean, and they went into Spider-Womans, they went into Silk, and all the different clone stories, everything like that. And that kind of prompt got me to thinking, this is what I remember comics being about, bringing people together so we could just sit there and talk about fictional characters and what we liked about them. So that got me to going. Let me start my channel, and I'm going to start off with how I got into comics. Well, my main way I got really into comics was the old pocket book editions. They were done about from 1977 to 1979. They were these little paperback editions of reprints of, issues one to whatever. And they had different volumes. And I actually remember that the first, I think, actual pocketbook edition I got was a Spider Woman. I found it in a comic, not in a comic book store, in a bookstore actually. So I remember vaguely getting that. I really liked Jessica Drew. I liked her origin. And then I just started picking up these other pocketbook editions, and I would just sit there at night reading them, and basically I wore them out. They were tattered, ripped, torn because I just kept on reading and reading all the stories. I remember I had gotten the Amazing Spider-Man one, and I think it was like the third edition book, so I was starting earlier issues in before the origin stories. So, but I had to go and find these other issues. So that was my real first, I think, entry into comic books per se, and the stories of Spider-Man and Captain America, beyond the television with Electric Company or any other thing. Then, as far as issue related, like an actual comic book. The one I remember the most as being the issue that I first really started collecting books on was the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers, issue 158, and yes, it was 30 cents at the time. It was, I remember, the cover was Wonder Man punching the Vision, and the Vision shooting his head beam at the Wonder Man. And then there was a scene in one of the issues where it was just Vision pushing his arms right through Wonder Man with a density shift, and Wonder Man screaming in pain, but then he just took his fist and pounded the Vision out, and it was just like Vision versus Wonder Man beatdown going on. So that was my first real take of comics and what got me into the comic book business as far as collecting and reading, really reading. Because remember, comics are for reading, not collecting. Collecting's always last. You read them and you love them and you keep reading them. So after that, I dabbled. I read all the different issues. I read X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men. I remember I have the issues, the original issues that I have of um, the X-Men with the Dark Phoenix saga, the Days of Future Past. I have all that legacy. I have the first issues of Wolverine, not Wolverine, but the new team of the X-Men. So I collected all those, but sporadically. They were off and on. I didn't collect full runs of stuff. I collected maybe because we didn't have comic book stores. Remember, I didn't have comic book stores back then. We had to go to like Woolworths or I mean, remember the grocery store or a little pharmacy or a five and dime store had them, and even Kmart had them at the time. I remember. After that, the the issue that I really remember next, I really remember where I said this is the issue that I'm going to collect. This is the hero set I'm going to collect, and I continued collecting from then on, as long as the person was always in the book. And that was issue 171, where Rogue first joined the X-Men. Just the one of that opening panel, Colossus is opening the door, and he just yells "You!" and there's Rogue. And at that, she had the little two streaks in her hair at that time, and just that she needed help from the professor because of all the sapping of the power from Miss Marvel, and has just made her go, her power level go crazy, and she can't figure out whose memory she has, and Mystique couldn't help her. So she went to the Xavier, and how everybody was kind of pissed off at her for doing it. Even Binary showed up at the time, who was there, Carol Danvers. I, the only thing I can think of is Rogue um, resonated with me as far as her being kind of like this outsider coming in to this group that was so tight that she was alone, felt lonely, felt helpless, and that just helped, I think, me feel part of that character. And then, 2 issues later, when she's in Japan with Wolverine, and um, Lady Viper's about to blast Wolverine with the ray gun or whatever, and you see Rogue flying in, and she pushes Wolverine out of the way with his love, and Rogue takes the hit for him, and it's a stronger hit than she thought it was going to be, and Wolverine was kind of like, "Why the hell did you do it?" She's like, "Well, that's what teammates do." And then Wolverine had kissed her so that she could take some of his mutant healing factor. So that's when that character Rogue for me was my end all be all character. She is the one that I've always liked and always will like. Um, some of the things I do hate is I hate Gambit and Rogue. I hate that as a couple. I think it's the worst couple in the world, and I know I'm going to get hate for it, but I just don't like Gambit as Rogue's partner, lover, whatever. I just because they're both Cajun, I don't think that makes it have to be. I like Magneto and Rogue. I thought the whole when Jim Lee did it and they were on the Savage Land together, it was done beautifully. I thought that was really well done, well played. And then when you saw it happen in X-Men versus the Age of Apocalypse, great couple again there. I think the fans, loved, like me, loved Rogue and Magneto together. So, you know, that's who I like to see, and that's who I wanted to see. I wasn't happy in the X-Men movies how they did Rogue. I dealt with it. I lived with it. I said, yeah, okay, whatever. But I really wanted to see that super powered Rogue who, could take a beating and keep on ticking. So that's how I got into comics. It also got me into drawing. I mean, I love drawing. And it's not what I do for a living. I've done a lot of. I took art. I went to art school, uh, and going to art classes, and wanted to do all that stuff, but I just ended up not doing it. I've done web comics before. I've had a couple web comics done in the past. I'm actually trying to work on a new web comic on the side of my real job. So I'm really looking forward to see what else I can do. But I just felt that I think the industry now, we need a way to share the enjoyment that we had in comics and not fight so much, not yell and say, "Oh, this sucks and we can't get this." And maybe the creators, maybe Marvel and all these other companies will realize, they're missing the fun. They're missing what brought us all together as fans. I mean, we were geeks. We were the geeks. It wasn't cool to be a comic book person, but we loved it. I mean, we comics, D&D, sci-fi, all that was together and brought us all together as one group that could have fun. And we saw each other as individuals. We didn't see each other as social construct groups that society makes. You know, we weren't this group, we weren't that group, but we were just all comic book geeks. And we loved our superheroes. And we dealt with the 60s cheesy, spoofy heroes all the way up through the 80s, 90s hard grit, Marvel Max series where our heroes became kind of villains at times. And now we're back to, then we've got to, being heroes again. And now we're back into this where they're all, to me, some of the characters are almost pansy like now. Um, but it can be saved. We can help push the industry in the right direction if we stay positive with this. So, well, that's all I have to say right now. So I'll be abducting you later.